Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and it's the last week of March, and I just want to finish this TBR so bad. I'm not going to completely finish it, but I want to make a significant dent, so let's get into it. So today is Tuesday. I originally wasn't going to start the vlog today. I was going to start it tomorrow after I got home from work, because then I will have listened to more of Bonds of Brass. But I decided to go ahead and start it today with the hope that I will get it done, or the hope that I'll have some more content as the week goes on. I wanted to very, very briefly talk about the book that I just finished. I'm going to have a whole other vlog for it, so if you want my more in-depth sort of thoughts, go check that out. But I just finished reading Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I've been reading it for about 2 weeks now because I absolutely freaking hated it. It's Pride and Prejudice with zombies. That's the summary. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get too into it because I have a whole other thing about it. But I did want to acknowledge that I've been reading another book, and I gave it 1.5 stars, which is my lowest rated book of the year so far. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the lowest rated book total, because honestly, if I hate another book as much as I hated this book, I would just DNF it. But because of the parameters I set on myself, I couldn't do that. So yeah, it's 1.5. So I just wanted to acknowledge that there. Otherwise, I haven't read anything because yesterday was Monday. I spent the day like doing, random chores. I organized a pantry. It looks beautiful. And I was writing an essay. Today I edited last week's vlog. I finished the essay, and then I was reading in between work meetings. And so I haven't read anything else. But tomorrow I will actually go to the office, so I will resume listening to Bonds of Brass, which is a young adult sci-fi queer story that I'm mixed feelings about so far. But I will also tomorrow start reading A Prefect's Uncle by Wodehouse. That's my Wodehouse book of the month. I'm hoping that I can finish it fairly quickly and read another book from my March TBR before, the month ends. We will see. we'll see, because Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, is very close to putting me in a reading slump. And, oh, that's cool. Chris texted me about a construction project that's going to be in our town soon, about a hotel, which I find really cool, but also confusing because, it's a small town in Indiana. Like, how many people really want to come here? We already have, 3 hotels. But he said that it's going to have 58 rooms and a banquet hall as well as an attic speakeasy, and I'm like, I'm good with having a speakeasy in town. That'll be fun. Anywho, so reading slump, and the Wodehouse book is a school story, which it's one of, I want to say it's his second published work, and his early works are a little rough. And so I'm kind of nervous about how long it's going to take me, because with previous Wodehouse books that I was not super into, it's taken me a significant amount of time for as short as they are. So here's hoping. So I wanted to just pop in, share my plans for the week. I'm gonna see what book oh no, I won't be able to read another book from my March TBR. Yep. I just remembered, for my post-colonial literature in Latin America class, we are starting a new book, and I have to read the first 4 chapters of Tentacle by Sunday. So realistically, after Prefect's Uncle, I would just pick up Tentacle. Well, looks like I might have a consequence book for April. That sucks. And I did it to myself. Anyway, I'm gonna start cooking. Hi everyone. I have been... What have I been doing? I listened to another, like 27% or so of Bonds of Brass. I'm over halfway through it. Same things as I said in last week's vlog, like the banter of the relationship is engaging. But with everything else, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to continue reading the series. I don't know if the relationship is enough to make me want to continue. It's not really speaking to me otherwise, and I don't think that it's a trilogy, and so I don't think the relationship is actually going to make much progress in this book, and that's not something I'm like interested in. Like, I want them to be together and then like have like drama and stuff in the next book. I don't want it to be a 3-book long slow burn. Like, that's not what I'm into. So, like, they haven't even kissed. It's halfway through the book and they haven't even kissed. There's an acknowledgement of feelings, but like, that's it. And now they're kind of like fake dating. So yeah, so I don't know if I'll continue the series, to be quite honest. Other than that, I started reading A Prefect's Uncle by Wodehouse. It is so far, because I don't read anything about the books before I start reading them, and so far it's about, there's this boys' school. We've met, quite a few characters, but like some of the main characters. One of them is a prefect for one of the houses, and he, discovers that an uncle of his is coming to the school. However, he thinks that the uncle is going to visit. He doesn't realize that it's his uncle that he's never met, granted, that is 4 years younger than him and is coming to the school to attend school and actually happens to be in his house. And so I'm anticipating that causing some like drama. There's also another new student who like seems very mischievous, and one of the first things that he did is like punch another guy in the face because this other guy was like teasing him or something. I don't know. So it's interesting. I do know, however, that like partway through the book there's a chapter that is only about cricket, and there's nothing wrong with cricket. I wish I understood it more, because I'd probably enjoy those chapters more. But because I don't understand cricket, and I find it very difficult to even attempt to understand, those chapters are like torture. So there's that. Also, I have to read Othello for one of my classes, and I'm counting that as a book. It's possible to get it as its own book, so I'm counting it. Because I have to read the entire thing, so I might as well get some like bonus credit. So I'll finish reading that next week, because I have to read the first 2 acts for this week's assignment, and then next week I will finish the play. So just so you know. So I'm reading Othello for my Intro to Lit class. It is a tragedy, and I know that I know the gist of it, of like, there's Othello, he's this, great military person. He elopes with Desdemona, but almost immediately the relationship is sabotaged by Iago, who is upset that he was not made Othello's lieutenant. And so he vows to ruin everyone's lives, pretty much. So that's like the gist of it. So I already know, but I've never actually read the actual play. So this will be interesting. I've finished one act already. I'm about to read Act 2. And once I finish reading these acts, then I will go and watch the first 2 acts of the play as well, just so that it like really sinks in. Because sometimes with Shakespeare, like while I understand most of it and I also have the background information of like knowing like the summary of it, the language can be a little difficult. so that's what I've been doing. And yeah, that's about it. I have it feels like a busy work week, but it's really not. Like it's not any more than it like usually is. But because I had to move one of my days, so like typically I work Sundays, but because of Easter, I'm working Saturday instead and having a bunch of meetings. And so I'm working, it's such a weird complaint. Like I have to work 2 days in a row. Typically I only have to do that Tuesday and Wednesdays. And so it feels weird to know that like, all right, I did Tuesday and Wednesday, but now I have to do Friday and Saturday, and that sucks. So if it's such a weird complaint, but it means that I do get 2 days off in a row, which I typically don't. I typically actually work like every other day, essentially. So I get every other day off, but now I get 2 days off in a row, and that's exciting. So yeah, that's what's going on, and I'm gonna continue reading Othello, but just wanted to give you guys an update. Hey everyone. It is Sunday. It's Saturday. Jeez, I keep getting confused because I work today instead of Sunday. It is Saturday. I just got home from work, and I finished listening to Bonds of Brass. So I'd already mentioned an issue with like the colonialism of it all. So I'm not gonna touch on that. That issue kind of faded away, not much, but it was overshadowed by other issues I had. Pretty much, I felt like the main pairing is Edion, whose POV we're in, and Gal, who's the Umbra heir. I don't understand why Edion loved Gal. Like, all of their interactions, like, yeah, the banter is great, but all their interactions don't really, it's either, like, flirty, or they're angry at each other, or Gal is being, like, bloodthirsty in a way that Edion is uncomfortable with. So I don't understand, like, why he loves Gal. And then there's a whole big, like, plot twist at the end, which I already knew about because I looked into the series and I read the summaries of the other 2 books in the trilogy, so I already knew it was coming. Which makes it interesting, but then I was thinking back on, you know, all of their interactions and everything, and it's just like, okay, well, you're a big old hypocrite. So yeah, like I said, like the banter, the dialogue was good, and I actually, honestly, I prefer the friendship that was developing between Edion and Wen, this like junker mechanic that he met and like bonded with very quickly. I like that friendship, and I'm more invested in that friendship than anything else in the book. So I don't think I'm going to continue the series. I ran the book through Compile and I gave it a 3-star. So it's like it's fine, but it's just not, I'm not invested enough. And I don't think that this friendship between Eddie and Wen is enough for me to continue the series when I have so many other books that I need to read. So I might just see if I can find like spoilers of like what happens like in more detail than reading the summaries for the next 2 books. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Otherwise, when was the last time I filmed? Thursday, because I talked about Othello. I read the first 2 acts of Othello. It's good. I also read a modern translation of the first 2 acts of Othello and watched the first 2 acts of Othello, so I really absorbed it. But other than that, I read like 25-ish pages of a Prefect's uncle last night. We're getting more into the plot of the Prefect's uncle, who is like 4 years younger than the Prefect. He is a troublemaker. He gets involved with other troublemakers. There's this whole like big thing, and he ends up like running away from the school, even though he doesn't necessarily need to. And Wodehouse points that out. Like, but so part of it is like the Prefect, whose name I can't quite remember, Gethryn, I think. He's gonna go after the uncle, but it is boring. it's fine. It's boring. And I know that I think the next chapter is going to be cricket. There's been like little bits and pieces of cricket, but I think the next chapter is going to be like a lot of cricket. And I pretty much read the book last night in order to put me to sleep so that I could wake up early this morning for work. So that's where I'm at. But my dad did tell me that the next Wodehouse book is a Jeeves book, which I enjoy Jeeves. I think Jeeves and Wooster is great. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's a quick little update. Chris and I are gonna go do something. I don't know what. He wants to get out of the house. So I will check in tomorrow and tell you what I get up to on my day off. Hi everyone. I am making this a 2-week vlog officially. Partially because I have my TBR video went up today. I have a video that just needs to be edited. I can put it out Friday. So it just makes sense. And I also spent yesterday, which was Monday, in the hospital because Chris had woken me up at like 4:30 in the morning on Monday and said that he was having chest pain. So we went to the ER to be safe, and after a couple hours they admitted him because he has a history, which I appreciate. I'm not angry about that. I would rather like have all the tests done and him be negative, which he was, he's totally fine, than, you know, not get checked out and something happen. So I'm glad we went. I'm not glad about how unorganized the hospital was, because we did not need to stay overnight, and yet we did. He had a stress test done, which was the main reason he was admitted. at about like 1:30 in the afternoon, someone like looked over it and said he was good, he could leave, but it wasn't like officially read by the time like the shift change happened at the hospital. And by the time we were started sort of like kicking up a fuss of like, hey, what's happening, it was late at night. There wasn't anyone around to like officially read it, so he did end up having to stay overnight and got discharged at like 11:30 this morning. So overall he spent 28 hours in the hospital, which was a bummer because it was also like my day off. So I had Sunday off because of Easter, which was nice, and I was really looking forward to having a weekend, but one of the days was taken up by being in the hospital all day and having all my plans canceled. So that's why the TBR went out today instead of on the 1st, but it's fine. We're fine. He's fine. I finished a book, so there's that. I managed to finish reading A Prefect's Uncle before I got too frustrated to do anything besides just like scroll on Facebook and Instagram. So A Prefect's Uncle was fine. You know, it's Wodehouse's second published work, and in a lot of ways that shows. It's just like there were some characters that were introduced that like we didn't really need. Like there was a subplot about like a poetry contest, which like, okay, like it had nothing to do with the actual like plot of the story. Usually the subplot is at least somewhat connected, and it really wasn't, unless you count like both people involved in the plots happened to be on the same cricket team. They weren't even on the same cricket team. They were on the school cricket team together, but not the house teams. They were in different houses. Yeah, so it was a little disorganized. There was a little too much sports for my taste. Wodehouse really liked writing about like cricket and rugby, which I know like very, very, very teeny amount of rugby information, and I just do not understand cricket at all. My dad sent me a video to watch to like, I think it's like how to explain cricket to people who watch baseball or something like that. I still need to watch it, but I don't know if that'll really clear things up as far as reading Wodehouse. But yeah, so I gave it 3 stars pretty much because it was fine. It was fine. Definitely not one of like my favorites that he's written. And so I'm really looking forward to next month's Wodehouse, which is a Jeeves book, and I tend to like Jeeves and Wooster a lot more than his school stories. So that's that. I don't remember the last time I filmed. Okay, so I went and checked. Before this, I think the last update I gave you was Friday. Yeah, Friday. So, besides reading A Prefect's Uncle, it was Saturday, because it was about Bonds of Brass. Okay. I'm like, I didn't watch the video. I could tell where I was and what I was wearing, but in order for that to be useful, I need to remember what day I wore what clothes, which is difficult. Anyway, I talked about Bonds of Brass. So I read A Prefect's Uncle. I also started reading Tentacle, which I have to read for one of my classes. And it is a story about, it has a dual timeline. It is simultaneously taking place, like, I think it's 2027. And I think the other timeline is, like, early 2000s, I think. I'm not positive. It's definitely in the past compared to where we are now. But in that span of, like, 20-ish years, some sort of, like, ecological disaster happens where there's, like, no life in the oceans anymore, which is really bad and honestly terrifying to think about. But there's a prophecy, I guess is the best word for it, that this one person will be able to travel in time and fix this. And so we're following this person whose name is Day. And so it's a very complicated book. It deals with a lot of things. It deals with climate change, obviously, but it also deals with sexuality, with gender identity, with, you know, magical realism. I think it also deals a little bit with post-colonial things. I don't know, because I've read 50 pages, and there, from what I've seen, there hasn't really been a lot of information about any like post-colonial impact or anything, although my professor did explain that I think it's more subtle, and he also explained like there's a lot of stuff in the background about, like, because it takes place in the Dominican Republic, there's a lot of stuff in the background about the history between the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which are on the same island. So I think I have to pay more attention to that for, you know, what I need to write about. So it's interesting. It's pretty short. I have less than 100 pages left, because it's like 132 pages. So I should finish it sometime this week. But yeah, that's all my reading. That's the update about Chris. And so I'm going to get back to work and hopefully at some point read today. Hi everyone. The part of the clip where I'm like, when was the last time I filmed and what did I talk about? Last time I filmed was Tuesday. Here's Reese. So I don't think I read anything Tuesday, but I started listening to Ravensong on Wednesday, and I listened to about 2.5 hours. I don't know if this is what is going to happen at the start of every book, but it goes into like the past and the history of the new protagonist and the relationship, you know, with the rest of the Bennett pack, because it's about werewolves, before it gets into like the meat of the story, which like I don't mind, because TJ Klune does it in a really like engaging way. I just don't know if that's gonna happen for every book, although I think it would make sense if he did. So I am enjoying it. I'm getting backstory, which means I'm understanding the character more, because it is obviously a character that I haven't read from their perspective, but we haven't gotten to like where Wolfsong left off. We have not gotten there, and I don't even know if I'll get there by like tomorrow. After listening to like 2 more hours, so we'll see. It's good so far, but you know, I'm only like, I think like 12% or something. Other update, I finished reading Othello, which I had to do for my intro to literature class. You know, it's Shakespeare. It's stuck around for 400 years for a reason. It's pretty good. My dad made a comment of like something about, you know, neither of his children like liking Shakespeare, and I'm like, I have nothing against Shakespeare. I just think that to say that he's like the best writer, best playwright is not wholly accurate. I'm nothing against him. Just think, you know, other authors, playwrights are just as good, and all you're seeing is Reese's butt. Do you want to turn around, maybe? No, he's about to hit me in the face with his tail. Ow. So I finished reading Othello. It was good. I've never read it before. So I gave it 4 stars. You know, it was sad. There's a lot of death. But it all made sense. You know, and it's a tragedy. It's not supposed to have a happy ending. Other than that, that's really all I read the past couple days. Today was very busy. I was running around and doing all sorts of stuff. I got my hair, touched up, and I wrote, I watched gymnastics, went to dinner with Stephanie. Like, it was very, very busy. But I'm hoping this weekend to be able to finish reading Tentacle because I really don't have that much left of it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Not just getting hit in the face constantly. Not a lot is happening otherwise. I'm gonna have not a super busy day at work tomorrow, but like I feel like a long day. Yeah, that's really all I got. I'm sleepy. So I will talk to you guys later. Hey everyone, it's actually a Sunday that I'm ending the vlog. And I'm also talking like a little bit quietly because Chris is sleeping in the next room. So I honestly I haven't read that much. I've listened to more of Ravensong. I'm about 43% through and I'm enjoying it. I'm getting to know Gordo a little bit better. Because obviously it's from his perspective, so we're getting more thoughts of his, we're getting more history that we didn't get from Wolfsong. And the only thing is that, like, it's been so long since I read Wolfsong, like a year at least, that I forgot a lot of detail, which I am getting, reminders and more context through Ravensong. So it's not that bad. But there are certain things where I'm like, they'll mention something and I'll just be like, oh yeah, that did happen. So, but it's really good. I'm hoping that soon Gordo stops being so resentful, so that there can be more like romance between him and Mark, who is supposed to be his mate. And hopefully when I listen to it next week, that will happen. And by that I mean like on Tuesday. I know it'll happen at some point next week. But so that's the hope. Other than that, since my last check-in, I have read like 55 more pages of Tentacle, and it's all starting to make sense. I'm actually like really enjoying it. It's not quite so like, it's not triggering my existential dread as much as I thought that it would because of the whole like climate change storyline. It's still there, and it's something that if I think about too much, then I definitely get freaked out. But it's not like in your face. And so it's really interesting because now we have like 4 timelines, but they all connect, and it's explained how they connect. And so as soon as something was revealed, I was like, oh, like I literally, because it's a school book, I write like notes in the margin and I just put exclamation points next to it. And it's funny though, because Stephanie had mentioned wanting to read Tentacle after hearing me talk about it on my TBR. And so I'm like, oh, I'll let you borrow it when I'm done. But she's just gonna get my random like exclamation points or like translations of French or Spanish. So that's a little funny, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I should finish it, honestly, probably tomorrow. But so next week's vlog, I will give my review. But I'm really enjoying it. I am still enjoying it way more than my classmates. Because everyone, we have to share a, discussion post every week. We don't have to reply to other people, but I'm curious. And so I read a couple of them. But everyone's just like, I don't like this book. I don't know why this book is laid out this way. It's super confusing. Someone said that it felt like a an unfinished draft. And I'm just like, one, this is definitely not a finish. Like, the author clearly put a lot of thought into how to get these to interconnect in an intriguing way. And it is written this way to maintain tension as well as intrigue, because I wanted to keep reading last night. The only reason that I stopped was because I was tired and I had to wake up at 6 this morning, because otherwise I could have finished the book last night. And so it's just really funny that like everyone's discussion posts are like, I don't like this book, I don't, like the way that it's laid out, blah 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 blah. And I'm over here like, this second part like revealed so much, I was so into it, I loved it so much. And part of it is just me being like contrary, like, all right, everyone else says they hate it, I'm gonna love it. Like, is it gonna be a 5-star read? No. Is it gonna be a 4? Like, honestly, yeah, I think so. Like, I'm predicting it'll probably be around a 4 because I'm into it. And it's so short, but it's taken me 3 weeks to read. 2 weeks. But still. But yeah, that's about it. I'm glad this week was a 2-week vlog, because obviously spending like a day and a half in the hospital earlier this week kind of threw a wrench in some of my plans. But that's okay. And yeah, that's really all I got. So I will say, once I finish Tentacle, I will be picking up Ethical Slut and reading through that. And then once I finish Ravensong, I will move on to Heartsong, which is the 3rd book in the series. So things are going, and let's see how we can keep going. But if you have watched this long, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Leave me a comment, leave me like a little heart emoji, just because or leave me a flower. That'd be cute. I'm very springy, and the weather outside is not springy, so send me flowers. Leave me a little like flower emoji. That'd be cute. Subscribe, click notification bell, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.